Here we go again. He's back, everybody. The youngest to ever win the World Heavyweight Championship. A two-time champion. The self-proclaimed and once widely acknowledged baddest man on the planet returns to the ring after a 19-month enforced exile. Tonight, Mike Tyson resumes his career under the neon lights of the Las Vegas Strip. Can the former champion return to the summit and recapture his status as boxing's #1 attraction? Perhaps, but not before chasing and facing the challenge of the former champion and the #2 rated IBF contender in Frans Botha. This is the Grand Garden Arena at the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino. They proudly call this resort the City of Entertainment. It has been the host to 5 of Mike Tyson's last 6 fights. The last fight was the memorable and infamous Holyfield-Tyson rematch, which ended in a disqualification for Tyson and subsequent suspension by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Tonight, we come full circle, back in the very same arena where Tyson's life unraveled for a second time in June 28th of 1998. Good evening again, everyone. I'm Jim Hill, your host for tonight's event. Yes, there was something very special about Mike Tyson, his intimidating manner, his ferocious style, his air of invincibility. We're here tonight to see if he can rekindle the white-hot flame that forged him into a champion, or if his life, his actions, his once terrible arrogance has reduced the former champion into an ordinary fighter. For more on Tyson's return and tonight's main event, let's go to Steve Albert at ringside. Steve.
All right, thank you, Jim. There is no question Mike Tyson has become synonymous with controversy and drama. It has followed him throughout his career, from the day a 13-year-old kid with a gold tooth, no socks, and black trunks first stepped into the ring until today. His successes and failures, marriages and breakups, they're all out there on display, excruciatingly examined by the media. Of course, the most publicized and scrutinized event outside the ring was his rape conviction in 1992, which resulted in 3 years of prison. Inside the ropes, the bizarre ear-butting incident from his second fight with Evander Holyfield, which led to his boxing license revocation, a $3 million fine, public hearing and apologies, and a mandated psychiatric examination, the results humiliatingly made widely available to anyone who cared to read them. So tonight, about 19 months since that unforgettable night in this very arena, some of you may be asking, will Tyson snap again? Being away from the sport, Tyson told me he felt totally useless. He said, my spirit was gone. I couldn't do what I truly loved to do. During the enforced hiatus, he told me he got a lot of perspective. Now, based on those thoughts, I can only surmise that the last thing Tyson wants to do is put himself in that position again. With that, let me bring on my ringside partners. First, the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. And Ferdy, is Tyson capable of coming back and becoming a champion again?
I think that's in 2 parts. One part is as a boxer, absolutely. He's as good as anybody there is fighting today. Is the ring rust on him because of this 1 year out and then 3 years before that? We'll see that tonight. If you see him bobbing and weaving and coming on, he's back. If you see him standing straight up and coming in, he's got ring rust on him. That's that part. More important than that is his personal life. He seems to be on a roller coaster. He has no foundation. He has no guideline to follow. If he can get himself settled in life and understand what it is that this life's all about, then I think he will be back and he will be the champion of the heavyweight division again.
All right, let's turn to our other partner here, Bobby Ches. And Bobby, what are the differences between the return of Tyson tonight against Francois Botha as compared to his return against Peter McNeely?
Well, for starters, the first time he came back was after several years away from the ring. This time only 19 months. Secondly, it was against a lowly regarded Peter McNeely, now a highly regarded former world champion in Francois Botha, also still highly ranked. And thirdly, and maybe most importantly, Steve, Mike Tyson is at a crossroads. He needs to redeem himself now. A loss or a disqualification could completely ruin and destroy his career. Even a bad performance could cripple it. The stakes are very high for the former champion.
Well, Tyson told me he plans to start fast, make quick work of Francois Botha. We'll see later tonight. From an immediate standpoint, what effect will the long layoff have on Tyson tonight? And is he in a no-win situation? The feeling that no matter how well he does, he'll still have his critics. Well, earlier tonight, the arrival of Mike Tyson looks to be in excellent shape physically. Some are questioning his mental state in light of recent flare-ups with the media. Just when we thought he was mellowing, he erupts into these profanity-laced tirades. Seemed okay a few weeks ago when I talked with him. Perhaps it's the pressures of the fight building up, the same questions over and over, or he just doesn't care what people think. Still, no excuse for his behavior. And 7-1 underdog Francois Botha from South Africa, living in Newport Beach, California. Upon his arrival here earlier, the affable Botha talks a good game, says he won't lay down or be intimidated. While I'm not sure he's the next McNeely or Bruce Seldon, I do feel he is tailor-made for Tyson, even if he did go into the 12th with Michael Moore. He's relatively slow, punches wide, keeps his hands down. Give him points for bravery and willingness. But how could he pass up this opportunity with a $1.8 million payday? I asked him what will happen if Tyson snaps. He said, if he bites me, I'll bite him back. Francois always had a way of capturing the moment. So it's Tyson versus Botha, our main event upcoming later. For more on tonight's featured attraction, let's go to our roving reporter, Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Steve. Mike Tyson just walked into the building with his entourage. We will start with Panama Lewis. Panama is the trainer of Frans Botha. He is not permitted to be in the corner tonight because he is banned from boxing by the New York State Athletic Commission. Nevada recognizes that for altering the gloves, for which he was convicted of back in the Resto Collins fight back in 1984. Panama, you will not be seated in the corner tonight. How far away will you be from Frans Botha, and can you be of any help at that distance?
First of all, I want to thank God for having me here today, and I want to thank the commission from Vegas for making this fight happen. Probably it would be like 5 to 4 rows from the ring.
Panama, have you instructed Frans in any way to try and get underneath the skin of Mike Tyson, to maybe throw an elbow, a low blow, something that might cause him to snap?
No. My fighter is ready. Mike ain't no Superman, you know. He feels it too, and my fighter is ready. You can see a clean fight from Francois Botha.
Can he be intimidated like a lot of opponents of Mike Tyson have been?
No. This man is from Africa. He's the real African American. He born in Africa, and he been seeing black people all his life.
What about actually when he comes out? Mike Tyson has been such a raging bull in his character coming out. Can Botha withstand what happens here in the first couple minutes of the first round and the second round?
There's always a way to calm a bull down.
And what will that way be?
You'll see left, that jab in his face, and that right hand, and that uppercut, and find the angles.
So you'll be about 5 rows behind Botha tonight?
Oh, yes. And
can he recognize your voice, or is it just going to be lost in the sea of all this loud?
You know, I have a big mouth, and
many have said that. All right, Panama, good luck tonight.
One love, America.
Okay. Let's send it over now to Bill Boggs.
Well, Jim, I thank you very much, and hello to you. Traditionally, the days leading up to any Mike Tyson fight have a big buzz, and this Mike Tyson's most recent comeback is no exception. So here are some of the sights, the sounds, and the opinion of Tyson Botha Fight Week, all condensed into 1 minute.
Tyson by brutal knockout.
Go Botha!
Kill this mother. Off this chip.
Tyson in 3.
Mike still gonna knock him out. TKO.
I can't wait for Saturday. The white buffalo's extinct.
Go Botha!
Tyson at the 6.
Mike Tyson continues to fascinate.
Tyson. He's back. Allahu Akbar.
233 pounds, 223 pounds.
Well, at this point, Tyson's legacy is, in fact, a legacy in limbo. So all the people we heard from and all of you watching right now may have a radically different opinion tomorrow morning, including you, Jim Hill.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. We'd like to welcome to our broadcast team one of boxing's premier trainers in Emmanuel Stewart, taking a moment off from training Lennox Lewis for his upcoming bout with Evander Holyfield to unify the entire heavyweight division. And so good to have you. How's training going for the WBC champion now?
Training's doing very well. Lennox is training very hard. He's running his 5 or 6 miles every day with the knee-high wave snow. He's training up in Pennsylvania. He wanted to train where it was cold for his fight. And we expect it's going to be a brutal fight, and it's going to be a rough fight. So he's in good shape.
All right, Emmanuel, let's talk about tonight's main event. Give us your take on the main event this evening.
Well, I think Botha is a little too slow, in my opinion, for Mike Tyson, particularly for this type of a fight where Mike is coming out trying to regain his old form, which means he's going to come out fast. Mike's going to come out punching fast and hard, and I think that both will probably get caught early. But if it doesn't end in the first 3 or 4 rounds, it's going to be interesting because Mike has never been that effective in fights after 7 rounds. And Botha is basically, what I understand, training and preparing himself for a long fight, hoping to wear Mike out and then have his opportunity later on in the fight.
And maybe Botha's confidence will begin to grow and grow after the 5th?
Yes, I think Botha, he has 2 qualities that is always important in order to fight Mike Tyson to be effective. He's not afraid of Mike Tyson, I don't believe, and he's got a little guts, and he's in pretty good shape, from what I understand.
So once again, question marks surrounding once again the fight of Mike Tyson. We will visit with Emmanuel a little bit more as the night progresses, but right now, let's show you viewers tonight's entire fight card. We begin our coverage this evening with a 12-round lightweight bout between former WBC champion Goya Vargas against the undefeated Ben Taki. Next up, Robert Garcia, the undefeated IBF junior lightweight champion, defends his crown against 2-time title holder John Molina. Then comes our main event, Mike Tyson and Francois Botha in a heavyweight bout scheduled for 10 rounds. And as a bonus, following our featured fight, we'll broadcast a bout recorded earlier tonight between Zab Judah and Wilfredo Negron in a junior welterweight bout. Now, once again, we offer a way for those of you watching the telecast to score each of the live broadcast bouts on our card tonight. This will be on the internet. Now, we're happy to tell you that online scoring is available for tonight's fights. Log on to mtyson.com and go to the TiVo Personal TV online scoring webpage. Tell us who you think is winning each round. Your entries instantly update the scoring webpage, and the results will also be announced live on air during the broadcast. mtyson.com is also the place to find a special online auction of boxing memorabilia, interviews with fighters, pre-fight analysis, and merchandise like hats, t-shirts, and jackets. Of course, your voting is for entertainment purposes only and will not influence the outcome of these fights. Once again, the web address is mtyson.com, and we thank TiVo Personnel TV for their participation and cooperation.
As the anticipation builds on a crisp, cool night in Las Vegas, we close in on the return of Mike Tyson, a fighter who was once bigger than the sport. Can he reinvent himself? Perhaps he can start by being a little less rude to the media and show a little more respect. The unmistakable scene here, Las Vegas, Nevada. Tyson Botha coming up. Right now, let's go back upstairs to our host, Jim Hill. Jim?
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Now, anyone who has ever really known him knows that Mike Tyson is a complex individual. His apologies are sincere, and strangely, so are the retractions that often follow. And even though he has been in the spotlight and under the public microscope for years, he remains an enigma. And it seems that Tyson is a puzzle that, you know what, even he cannot solve.
He's out. Look at me. I got to go home and my kids are going to be scared of me. Look at me, man. I was frustrated. I was mad. I was blooded. I was bleeding. And I was a little dizzy, and I thought they were going to stop the fight, and I believed that he was doing it intentionally. I'm sorry, but I'm human too. Nobody was defending me in there. Later on, like a week or two, as everything continued to escalate, I said, oh, I f***ed up. You know, I'm suspended. I'm screwed.
My brother knew that Mike Tyson be suspended.
For some reason, I feel like I'm Norman Bates up here with all the doctors and everything.
The maximum fine of $3 million and revocation of license.
I stayed in Brooklyn and Flatbush Avenue in Brownsville. I stayed there, but mostly the whole summer. You stayed in a retrospect, and I used to look back and see where I came from. So people get shot, see people fighting, see people quarreling over dice games. My dumb ass got in a dice game. I even got in some arguments. Yeah. And you know, man, I used to put myself back in perspective and said, this is a hell of a life. I am so sorry.
Mr. Tyson has met his burden.
Trust me, this won't happen anymore.
I'm prepared to give you one last chance in Nevada.
I hear somebody say, you're the greatest, and I don't know who the hell they're talking about sometimes. But when you hear a million people telling you you're great every day, you know what I mean, sometimes that goes to your head. So I'm just trying to put everything in perspective. You have to understand, I come from a place where one moment I'm in a drug dealer's house and I got a bunch of people on the floor robbing. The next thing you know, I got my hand raised in the air and they said the youngest heavyweight champion in the world, and that's an overwhelming load the handle.
He is the youngest ever to win the heavyweight title, Mike Tyson.
I don't have big dreams and stuff like that. That's just not who I am. I just like to kick some ass, have some fun, you know what I mean? I just need to be Mike Tyson. Everything else is a foregone conclusion.
Well, back now with Emmanuel Stewart. And you know, Emmanuel, I know you've known Mike for a number of years, over 15 years now. People say all kinds of things about him. He's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He's schizoid. I mean, he really is all of those things.
He is. You know, Mike Tyson is a young man with a lot of different personalities. And if you meet him one time and you say, well, Mike is a sweet, lovable guy, when he was talking, he just laid his head on my chest, that is the way Mike Tyson is. And another person might say, well, he's an animal. But when you look at Mike Tyson's background and everything, it makes it be a little bit more understandable. I think one of the things that has set him off a lot this summer in particular, in this past year, is because of the fight with Evander Holyfield, which he felt that was beyond the crowning situation that really turned the public totally against him. Because in his heart, I deep down feel myself, he's never felt that he should be criticized to the degree that he was related to biting Evander Holyfield zero, because he felt that he was butted very badly the first fight, the only cut he ever had in his life. The next fight, he was butted again and cut again over there. And when people refer to him biting Evander, no one ever refers to the fact that he was retaliating like other athletes do when a guy gets beaten by a particular pitcher, he goes out and starts fighting. And so I think he had to apologize. He's been all over the world apologizing. But deep down, he really felt that he was justifiable to some degree. And I think this particular year, he's really went even further than he had went before in this chaotic life of his.
So Mike Tyson has been out of action for some 19 months right now, and there's great anticipation about him getting back into the ring tonight against Francois Botha. For more on tonight's main event, let's go to Jim Gray outside Tyson's dressing room. Jim?
All right, thank you, Jim. I'm joined by Shelley Finkel, the advisor and manager of Mike Tyson. He spent the entire day, in fact, he spent the past couple of months with Mike Tyson training. The mood with Mike today is what, Shelley?
Very relaxed, very confident.
19 months is a long time for a 32-year-old man to be out of the game. Are there any major concerns that you have because of that rust, because of that layoff coming into tonight?
I might have felt that way 2-3 months ago, but seeing what he's done and the amount of time he's put in, and that, none at all.
We've heard some talk that maybe Botha might throw an elbow, low blow, something to goad Mike into snapping. Is that a concern?
I hope it doesn't go that long.
The inside with Tommy Brooks, a new trainer, somebody he hasn't been familiar with. Just exactly how long does that camaraderie and chemistry take in a fight?
It took about 2-3 days, because the first day they were working out, Tommy was showing him some things. The second day he put mitts on, and when Mike missed a punch, Tommy hit him. And Mike says, whoa, this guy's real. And he thought it would just be very simple. And then the third day, Mike didn't feel good and he threw up. And Tommy said, look, we got a couple more rounds. We got to finish him. If you throw up in the fight, they're going to let you finish it. So he got the respect early, and then they have a great rapport. If you watch him lately, any training he does, he looks to make sure that he's there. And
all right, Shelley, we appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you later in the evening.
No problem. Thank you, Jim.
Let's send it back outside now to Steve Albert.
Coming up next, Mike Tyson still behind closed doors. Somebody taking a little peek in there as he gets ready to take on Francois Botha in the return of Mike Tyson, our main event coming up. Once again, the Marvin Hagler treatment. And here's Francois Botha back in his dressing room. You'll recall balance was a major problem for Tyson against Holyfield, and well, Botha told us he is very cognizant of that and plans to take full advantage, saying he wants to tie Tyson up, backing him up, believing he can't fight in retreat. Tyson versus Botha next. So Tyson versus Botha, the return of Mike Tyson coming up next from Las Vegas. Is Francois Botha the latest designated sacrificial lamb? You'd be hard-pressed to find anybody outside of his inner circle who thinks Botha has a chance. You don't find too many sure bets in this town, but this is probably the exception. Let's go over to Bill Boggs. Bill?
That was big action with Alex Yemenigian, the president and COO of MGM Grand, your official jovial host.
I think so. I think so.
And one of your jovial fans is with us, Mr. Drew Carey. Hey, Drew. How you doing?
How you doing? Here with my good buddy Al.
Yeah. Now, since the last time we were together here, you won some money on the last fight. You placed a bet. What are you betting tonight?
I bet the over, 4.5 rounds.
So you see Tyson in 4.5 rounds?
Well, I see the fight going 4.5 rounds.
Oh, dude, just the pure over.
Yeah, that's the pure over. I don't care who wins, really.
Now, Alex,
what do you mean you don't care? Mike's going to win. What do you mean you don't care?
Okay, whatever you say.
Now, you, of course, being in the casino business, never bet, right?
Absolutely not. But I got to tell you, we've bet a lot of money on just putting these events together, and that's what it's all about.
Well, you know, the last time we were
it's called investing.
Yeah,
Not really. It's not betting for him. It's investing. It's commerce, capitalism.
Yeah, it was 18 months ago, the infamous ear bites. The last time we really talked on camera. Since then, the hotel has grown so much. I think you're approaching the California border.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
We bought all the hotels in the California border. Well, we're the city of entertainment. You know, we have zip codes all over the place. We're actually building a beautiful mansion with 29 villas that opens April 15th. So for the next Tyson fight, we're going to have that here.
Wait a second. You ready to check in?
Yeah, this place is so big you can't call room to room without getting the right area code. It's really unbelievable.
All right, now people at home are waiting to see the fight. A quick prediction?
Tyson in 6.
And Drew Carey?
As long as it goes over 4.5, I'm happy.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Back to Jim Hill.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. The main event, Tyson versus Botha, is coming up next. Mike Tyson hopes that tonight will be the very first successful step on the path to redemption, while Frans Botha plans to take advantage of this opportunity and play the role of spoiler. Our coverage will continue from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas in just a moment.
Showtime Event Television would like to give special thanks to just a partial listing of our regional promotion partners. Bodies in Motion, Domino's, Harley-Davidson, Pizza Hut, 24-Hour Fitness, Rally's Auto, Rocky's Auto, Tubby's Submarine. And we'd also like to thank our internet partner, Lycos, at www.lycos.com.
An estimated capacity crowd is settling into their seats in anticipation of tonight's main event. Mike Tyson is a 7-1 betting favorite here at the sports books, but no one can really be sure what to expect here tonight. And that certainty has fueled the excitement and anticipation. But remember, Tyson will enter the ring after a 19-month suspension and a 2-fight losing streak. One of the big weapons in Mike Tyson's arsenal was his intimidating manner. Many a fighter talked the talk, but when the moment came and they were staring across the ring at the freight train in the short pants about to bear down on them, all that talk somehow disappeared. Evander Holyfield practically disarmed Tyson by not succumbing to those tactics, as did Buster Douglas. In the months leading up to tonight's fight, Tyson has projected the confidence and even arrogance that were his trademarks as a champion. Botha claims he cannot be intimidated and plans to follow Holyfield's blueprint for victory.
Y'all guys know what I do. Y'all know what I do. I put people in body bags when I'm right. So we know what's going to happen.
I've never had any fear in me, and I believe that I can't be intimidated.
I never came in the ring trying to intimidate anybody. I just came in, presented myself. And whatever happened, if that happened, they choose to be intimidated, cool. Regardless of what happened, they're going to get hit eventually.
When I land, I know I'm getting it. I know with my power that I have too, that I can hit Mike and take him out.
My man's beefing. We heard this 15 years. I've been doing this. We've been hearing this from different guys. We'll see. We'll see.
Mike is right there, and he can't fight going back. And that inside fighting, that is his game plan, and he wants his hands free, and once you tie him up, Mike can't do nothing.
And I know you guys don't think he's going to beat me. I know you don't think that. Regardless of my layoff, I know no one believes that.
I see Mike burning up most of his energy in the first few rounds because he won that knockout. And then I see Mike slowing down after 3-4 rounds, slowing down, and then he's vulnerable.
People say anything, but the night the fight comes, I'm ready to rumble.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Tough talk from both fighters, from both Tyson and Botha. Now the time has come to back up those harsh words. Well, Emmanuel, what do you expect, first of all, from Tyson in the fight tonight?
I think Mike is going to come out fast. I think he's going to come out furious, trying to get the fight over as early as possible, because I think he realizes if the fight goes long, he's going to have a problem with Botha, because Botha's physically a big, strong man.
On the opposite side of that, what do you expect from Botha tonight? How will he counter that?
I think Botha is going to prepare himself to try to survive the early rounds. I think he's going to do everything he can to take the fight into the later rounds. But I don't know, in the heat of battle and both big heavyweights, things could get carried away and it could be wild and woolly.
Now, we can't let you get away without a prediction. You've got to give us one.
I make a prediction that Tyson wins within 4 rounds.
And it's going to be exciting.
I think it's going to be exciting. Now, regardless of what, Tyson is never going to be in a bad fight.
It's going to be exciting, like you say. Yeah, that's right. We are just moments away from the ring walks. So let's go to Jim Gray for a report from the dressing rooms. Jim.
All right, thank you, Jim. Well, the last time that Mike Tyson walked down this hallway, he permanently altered his reputation, not only as a fighter, but as a human being. 19 months later, he remains an enigma. He's a very complicated man, a complex mixture of rage, contradiction, talent, and confusion. Yet with all that has gone on with Mike Tyson, almost overlooked is his ability, or now lack of ability, to be an effective fighter. It has been more than 1.5 years since he has fought, and it has been more than 2.5 years since he has won a fight. Still, boxing seems so eager for Tyson's return, and I'm not sure why. Is it to revive a sport that seemingly is on life support? Or is it simply to satisfy the curiosity of the bizarre behavior which might occur next in the soap opera which has become Mike Tyson's life? Now, there are an awful lot of people who would like to see this guy pick himself up, to atone for his mistakes, to return to greatness, and to restore his abilities, to give us the thrills that he used to. Yet on the other hand, there are an awful lot of folks who would have preferred that he'd never have been allowed to return. And now that he's back, they'd like to see him pummeled, because they simply cannot get past their disgust in his past behavior. So whichever side you fall on with Mike Tyson, very few, if any, have brought us to our television sets for such a variety of reasons, all of which make Mike Tyson, whether you like him or whether you hate him, such a compelling figure. Steve?
All right, Jim, thank you. The audience here at the MGM Grand settling in for the main event. This is the reason they're here, the return of Tyson. Many folks understandably turned off by Tyson's erratic behavior in recent years and the days leading up to this fight. While this is not a title fight, it does have a unique feeling, almost a morbid curiosity, no doubt, because of the uncertainty. Well, whether Mike Tyson wants to admit it or not, this is probably the last chance to salvage his career. Obviously, there is much at stake, like a possible third megabucks fight with Evander Holyfield. But if this is the case, you wouldn't know it by talking to him. When I sat down with Tyson recently, there didn't seem to be any sense of urgency in his voice. He told me he's not looking to leave a legacy. He doesn't have big dreams. He said everything will eventually fall into place. He just wants to be himself. There have been several sides to Mike Tyson in this, his third go-round. While he seems focused and primed for the next chapter, it remains to be seen if his story will have a happy ending. All right, Ferdy, what kind of a test does Botha provide for Tyson?
A very good one, because he has fought for the title twice. He's a very big man. He's a very strong man. He can take a punch, and he is kind of fighting discombobulates you. This is kind of a test of Tyson's psyche. Is he going to get rattled? Is he going to get frustrated? Is he going to do something stupid? Or is he going to systematically take apart a man who is standing there to be punch hard?
Do you think Tyson, for lack of a better expression, still has the hunger? I mean, do you think he still has the heart?
I do. I'm one of the few that thinks he has a heart, and I think he has a hunger way beyond what he thinks he's got. He wants to be up there considered with the really great. He's not now considered with the really great, but he has an opportunity to put all this behind him and get back in there with the great figures. This is his first step. If he takes it well, then he's on the way to trying to recover that shattered reputation that he's left behind.
All right, back to Bobby Ches. Does Tyson look to simply walk through Francois Botha, or does he come in with a definitive game plan?
I think he comes in with a very specific strategy constructed by Tommy Brooks, but I think he'll also react to whatever Botha does, both good and bad.
We all know what Botha needs to do. Does he have the ability?
Well, you know, you can put anything down on paper. It's one of the great things about fighters. Everybody can be beat on paper, but do you have the skills, and can you put your skills to work that day against that fighter in that hour of that day? Well, you know, that's something else to be desired. I don't think Botha can do it, Steve. I really don't.
Will Botha look to intentionally foul Tyson, to disrupt him, to make him lose his cool?
Botha's not a dirty fighter. He's not a dirty fighter. He's a very straight-up, clean fighter. But in a high-pressure cooker with all this money involved, anything's possible.
keys to victory for both fighters tonight?
Okay, Steve, well, I'll tell you what. It's very simple. Both men have to close the distance. Here, Tyson has to close the distance because of his lack of height. He wants to get in, slip punches. Here you'll see Frank Bruno. Mike's back to us. He'll slip punches, and then Mike does what he does best. Goes to the body with a right hand, a left hook to the head, and then he follows up with another of each as he gets inside on Frank Bruno. There's the slip, there's the right hand and the hook, and he works again with another hook and a right hand inside. Mike Tyson inside here is very key. His hands are still working. He has to keep his hands. He's closed the distance. Keep his hands free. His hands stay free. The uppercuts and hooks will immediately follow in bunches and bunches. That's Mike's style. Here he misses, but key, his hand is not tied up. He's free to punch. He'll eventually land, and when he does, you see the end and total destruction of Frank Bruno. For Botha, he has to close the distance a little bit too, but for different reasons. He wants to smother Mike Tyson's punches and then use his own. Stuff a good jab, a good straight right hand, and then also maybe work Mike's body because he's a shorter fighter, and then follow through with some uppercuts up the middle and hold Mike. On the inside, he must tie Mike up. Here against Axel Schultz, with his back to us, Francois Botha does close the gap. He lands a nice straight right down the middle, smothers Schultz's punches, throws some body shots, hooks and uppercuts inside, but he's consistently keeping both his hands from working. That's what he has to do to Mike. Again, the uppercut on the inside, but he has to consistently keep Mike's hands from moving, or he has no chance, Steve, to win at all.
And of course, that's Axel Schultz, a light hitting heavyweight. Now, an important sidebar to tonight. Tyson turned pro 14 years ago. For the last 13 of these years, 93% of his total career, Don King has been a prominent and significant part of his life. Now, the two, along with former co-managers Rory Holloway and John Horn, are embroiled in a series of bitter and invective-filled lawsuits. Tyson has now surrounded himself with high-powered attorneys and accountants and trusts his affairs to well-known and respected boxing manager Shelley Finkel, officially called his advisor. And equally interesting, the addition of former Holyfield assistant trainer Tommy Brooks as chief trainer. Now, how will these changes affect Tyson? Will we see the difference in the ring tonight? He has certainly been far more accessible to fans and reporters in the last few weeks than in the past. Hasn't always been the nicest guy, but he has been more accessible. Has focus and stability finally come to Mike Tyson, or will he snap again? Admit it, that's a big reason some of you tuned in and why a portion of the people are here tonight. But no matter what Botha does to unnerve Tyson, I just can't see it happening again. There is simply too much at stake. And let us take a look at the White Buffalo. Francois Botha, who says the White Buffalo is not Here he comes, Mike Tyson, as he heads toward the same ring he made his disgraceful exit in June of '97. The crowd revved up.
And the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave Peru through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Dr. Elias Ghanem, commissioners Glenn Carano, Lorenzo Fertitta, Dr. Luther Mack, and Dr. James Nave, and the executive director is Mark Ratner. Our physicians at ringside, Dr. Flip Homansky, Dr. Margaret Goodman, Dr. Al Capana, and Dr. James Game. Timekeepers at the bell, also keeping count of the knockdowns, we have Jane Broadfoot and James Cavan. And introducing to you our judges scoring this bout from ringside, all from Las Vegas, Nevada, Bill Graham, Dave Moretti, and Dalby Shirley. All right, fans, here we...
Much respect there in the face of Francois Botha. Now that it's all over finally, a much relieved Mike Tyson. But you got to give a lot of credit to Francois Botha, whose stock goes up once again in defeat, just as it did against Michael Moore.
Tommy, yes.
And our Jim Gray is standing by right now in the ring. Jim.
All right, thank you very much. Mike, congratulations on this fight. How difficult was this fight for you, and how much rust do you feel you had?
A tremendous amount of rust. But I've been training with Tommy Brooks for so damn long.
I'm tired of seeing his face. And I was just calm. I told my trainer that I'm going to catch him late. Just take it easy. I'm going to catch him late. But my trainer knew because he'd been training all day. The other guys, Stacy McKinley and them, got a little excited. But I was okay. I knew what was happening.
Mike, the eye in the first round, very reminiscent of what happened to you with the Evander. It started to bleed. Were you concerned?
I'm a better fighter now than when I fought Evander.
Were you concerned about the eye, though?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because I knew in a matter of time I had 10 long rounds. Okay. I'm not a first-round knockout no more. I put them together.
Now tell us about what happened, the incident at the end of the first round.
He kept holding me, and I kept twisting him around, and his arm got caught in my arm, so I hold it there. And he was holding.
Thanks for not demonstrating.
No, I wouldn't do that. He was just holding me, and I was lucky enough to get a shot to knock him out. I like to give happy birthday to Custom Model. Tomorrow's his birthday. Tomorrow's Muhammad Ali's birthday. I'm talking.
What did Ali say to you? He said something
no.
to you when he whispered to you yesterday. Tell us what you said. You just brought
he
up
said,
Ali.
go to bed and go to sleep. Get some rest.
All right,
I want to say hi. I like to say hi to some Brooklyn Warriors that passed away. My brother Arkbark, my brother LD, and my brother Tweety. Let's get along, brother. Allahu Akbar. I love you all. One love. All right, Brooklyn rules. Top of the food chain.
We'll give you all this time that you want. Now, let me just ask you one other thing about that incident. Do you feel that Botha was trying to bait you into snap?
Yeah, he was talking a lot of smack and stuff, but it's cool. He was a good fighter. But I'm working with some great trainers. I had a great training camp. It's a matter of time. Talk to my trainer. Tell him what I was telling you, man.
Tommy, how much of a different fighter? Tommy Brooks, stay with us, Mike. How much of a different fighter is he from what you went against him with Holyfield?
I was a little worried at first because he went out and just listen. He started looping his punches. When he came back to the corner, I told him, you got to throw your straight punches. We've been working for 2.5 months on working at firing at the body. He was head hunting.
He was unable to put together any combinations. Exactly. Does that concern you for the next fight?
Not really. He learned his lesson tonight. He knows that I'm not going to tell him anything wrong. Once we set a fight plan, you got to stay with the fight plan. We train for 10 rounds. If it happened early, just like he just did, but he has to throw straight punches. He came out, he's looping punches. Then he settled down, he started throwing straight punches. And that's where it's over with.
Mike, let me ask you, it's been 2.5 years since you won a fight. Did you ever start to doubt your abilities?
Oh, listen, everybody talks and say, like, I read these guys tell you I'm losing confidence because I'm talking loud and vulgar. I'm talking vulgar because I'm angry of what I've experienced all my years through this boxing. And I'm just angry. And everyone else has a right to be angry too, but that's just how I express myself.
Are you going to be more diplomatic in the future? Are you going to lose some of this anger?
I need respect. If you show me respect and stop writing trashy articles about me, then I'll show you respect. I'm a man. Listen, I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid to waste my life because when I die, I'm going to paradise. And I'm not worried, so I'm in a hurry to die. But no one's going to disrespect me, and no one's going to write nonsense about me without me retaliating back.
What do you mean? What do you mean you're ready to die? Can you clarify that?
No. And in all due respect, I'm saying regardless, they try to assassinate my character and get the judges in Indiana upset and the judges in Maryland upset. I'm a man, and I can only take so much, and I'm not going to sit back and take so much punishment. I'm a human being, and I need love just like everyone else. You can't talk about me and disrespect me. I have children, too.
All right, let's take a look at the end of the round one right here. We have Francois Botha here. Guys, tell us what went on. Go ahead, Mike. This is the end of the round.
Well, he was hitting me, and he was hitting me after done talking, and so I twist his body, and I twist his arm.
Francois, give us your version of what happened here.
I just know that Mike held my left hand, and
to him as he puts it.
I mean, Mike knew it. I was. I just tried to bait him in, and I walked right into it. I mean, he's a great fighter, and.
Not much. He probably was excited, but he wasn't showing me. And I said, it's a long fight. I'm working on him. I'm slowing him down.
He told me he was breaking.
Mike, what'll be next? Let's bring in Shelly Finkel as well. Shelly, what will be next? The manager and confidant.
He's my advisor. I don't know what's next. I just need some fights. Right. I need to put on better shows, and I'm just happy that Francois gave me a chance to fight for the number 2 ranking. And I listen. I'm not looking to jump into the mix real quick. I got to go one step at a time. And just go back to the gym and start working right away.
Will you continue to fight in 3 months? Will you stay busy, or will you take a layoff?
I would like listen. I gotta take care of myself.
Mike, congratulations, Shelly. Let's bring in you. Maybe you have an opponent or somebody in mind for April.
We're looking at late April, depending how Mike is, and we're talking to several people right now, but it's not been zeroed in on.
Can we throw out some names? Vaughn Bean,
Bean, Axel Schultz, Savarese, the regulars.
What do you think you saw tonight in Mike Tyson? Are you happy with this performance? You concerned?
Yes. No, I feel the guy. I also thought Richard Steele shouldn't have taken a point off. Then I differ with Mike on that.
I felt that
you would agree he did an excellent job under the adverse conditions in the end of the first round. It could have gotten away from Richard,
yes,
too.
but it was obvious what Botha was doing, and he let it continue at certain points. Then he caught control of it from the third round on, Steele. Before that, he didn't. And as the rounds were going on, Mike was starting to get his feeling. He was starting to get the jab going, and then you saw he lowered the boom.
All right, Shelley, we look forward to April, whoever it may be. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back now down to Steve Albert.
All right, thank you very much, Jim Gray. And certainly a very different picture from the last time Mike Tyson was about to leave this ring. That was an ugly scene with Tyson flailing away at security following the bizarre ear-biting incident June of '97. That was sheer bedlam. Tonight, thankfully, it ends a lot better than it began. We had a little bedlam here after the first round when things really got ugly, but calmer at the end. And Tyson produces his first win since September 7th, 1996, when he beat Bruce Seldon by first round TKO for the WBA heavyweight title. With this latest comeback fight now out of the way, the speculation is that he will next fight Axel Schultz of Germany on April the 24th. Axel off to our right, broadcasting this fight back to Germany. As Shelley Finkel mentioned, other possible opponents: Brian Nielsen, Lou Savary, Shannon Briggs. Jim Gray is still in the ring, and he is alongside the head of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Mark Ratner, the executive director. So let's go up to Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. With Mark Ratner. Mark, some very tense moments at the end of the first round. Behavior is a big issue regarding Mike Tyson. Tell us your version and what you said to Richard Steele at the end of the first round, and were you concerned that this one was going to be another out-of-control situation?
I was very concerned. I mean, it was a very scary moment to have that happen. I don't know exactly what started. I haven't seen the films of that yet. All I said to Richard, this is your fight, take control, take points away. That's all.
Were you ever concerned that this may be the end when all the police came into the ring and what we had in front of us was going to be another incident?
I was concerned, but when I saw him pull him apart, Fundy, then I figured that with Richard going to each corner and talking to him, saying, hey, we don't want to DQ here, that it would work itself out.
Mark, a whole nother issue has been raised. How fragile is Mike Tyson's license and its possible revocation based on some of the words that he has said? He's been quoted, he's been on television, obviously in a different manner than what he portrayed to you and the other commissioners.
There's been a lot of words that he's said. We're giving him a fresh start here. The license is not conditional. We don't have the legal power to say you have to do certain things. Obviously, if it brings discredit to the sport, then that's a problem. But I'm glad the way the fight turned out. It was a conclusive ending one way or the other, and we're happy that there's no more problems here.
So right now you're satisfied with his behavior and his words?
We're satisfied. We don't know what happened at the end of the first round, but I thought Richard Steele did a fabulous job. It was a very hard fight to work. Will there be
any investigation? That's the wrong word. Will you look into this, or is this just done now? It was just an incident in a fight.
What we'll do is look at the films, and we'll sit down and see if we could do anything different. We always like to learn from everything, and the incident happened, it was taken care of, and the fight went on.
I'm told in my ear by David Dinkins, our producer, that Richie Steele is not being permitted to speak to us tonight. Why?
What I've done, I set this policy about 6 months ago. I want the official to calm down, relax. He can speak at the press conference when the fight is over.
That's not true. We've had a fight here within the last 6 months where we've spoken to the official right after the fight over at the another hotel about 3 months ago.
Then it was right after that. We have stopped doing that on all televised broadcasts. It's just easier. They get a little confused. They say the wrong thing. I've seen it in too many states now. That's the Nevada Athletic Commission policy.
Thank you, Mark.
Nice
to see you this year. Happy New Year.
Okay.
All right, let's go back over to Steve Albert.
All right, Jim, as Mike Tyson makes his way back to the dressing room, KO 259 of round 5. Let's take a look at the TiVo online scoring results from the main event. And interesting, they had Botha ahead 3 rounds to 2, and Tyson, of course, ending it with one shot, that straight right flush on the face of Francois Botha. We thank you for taking part, and the TiVo Personal TV for their help as well. Bobby Ches has a key highlight with the telestrator. Bobby.
You know, fans have heard me say over the years, people turning their weight into their punches. Mike Tyson does not just throw a right hand. He takes from the ground up. You'll see his whole shoulder, his hip, everything turn into this punch. And Botha, who's coming forward, walks right into it. As we roll the tape, Mike hits him with all his weight. Look at the turn. The whole shoulder, his hips, everything into the punch, and Botha walks right.
Canvas for only the the third time.
That one very conclusive.
Oh, man, no question about it. But while Mike Tyson, of course, is pleased with the win, can he be pleased with this performance overall? A lot of ring rust there, coming off the inactivity of nearly 19 months. Steve Albert back here with the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. Can't be pleased with his overall performance.
I tell you, anytime you walk out of a ring knocking out a guy in the 5th round, yeah, you're pleased, because everything was going to wrong. There was a threat of another incident. He couldn't afford another incident in boxing. We got past that. They took a point away from him. He got past that. He's losing the fight. He got past that. He's got to have satisfaction. What he doesn't have is the blazing confidence that he had when he was knocking out people up one at a time. But everybody's been telling him, hey, you just don't come back from 18 months out and not have ring rust. You're not superhuman. So therefore, it proved to him what Brooks has been telling him, what everybody's been telling him: patience, work, time. That's what he needs. I don't think he should be unhappy. I think he should be ecstatic that he walked out of there with a 5-round clear-cut victory over a man who was giving him a heck of a fight.
I'll grant you that, but he says he's a better fighter now than he was against Evander Holyfield. How could he possibly think he would win looking the way he did tonight against a guy like Evander Holyfield?
Because he's a puncher, and punchers never lose. The thought that he is going to finish it with one punch. He did that. That's what punchers feel. One punch, I'm out of here. So that's what he did.
All right, let me turn back to our other ringside partner, Bobby Ches. What does Tyson prove tonight, and can he win back the respectability of the public?
I think he needs to continue getting better, continue in the gym, improve with Tommy Brooks, and he get that respect back by beating people that are respectable. Francois Botha had the type of style that would drive Mike Tyson or a smaller man crazy. 233 pounds, thrown at him, smothering him, overholding him, and Mike resorted to being a little dirty back. That overholding is dirty, holding behind the head, behind the arms, throwing his weight on him, pushing him up against ropes, bullying him, using his shoulders. Dirty fight, smart fight for Botha, based on his limited skills.
You think Tyson Holyfield 3 is inevitable?
I can't help but think so, because people want to know what's what. People want that trilogy because they need some closure.
That's the only fight that really matters to the fans. Let's go back up to Jim Hill.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Well, the crowd here wanted a knockout, and that's exactly what they got. Mike Tyson knocking out Francois Botha in the 5th round. Let me turn to Emmanuel Stewart right now. This was really very rough and ugly right from the beginning.
Yes, it was, and I'll be very honest with you. You know, Tyson won the fight. It was a very unique and beautiful punch, one of the most perfect punches I've saw in boxing. But if I was Mike Tyson's trainer, promoter, advisor, whatever, I would be concerned. I've heard the comments, but being realistic, Mike was not punching in combinations. And, you know, a lot of that could be attributed to both, because he fought a very strange style, staying away, then throwing a punch and smothering him and grabbing at the same time, which made it difficult to fight. But nevertheless, I saw Mike Tyson not punching in the combinations that I expected. The footwork was still all mixed up. So let's just hope that he goes back and works a lot harder, because I would be very concerned about the future, the way he looked tonight.
In the very first round, you looked at me and you said, he's not ready for this. How long will it be before he is ready for a championship fight?
I don't know. They have to be very careful in matching him right now, because I saw a lot of things that I didn't expect to see. I didn't see any combinations at all. I saw the one punch at a time type situation, and I saw him struggling. And I don't know whether it was all just because of both the style or because of Mike himself. But they have to be very careful with Mike right now.
And he was missing quite a bit, too.
He was missing quite a bit, and Botha was fighting the perfect fight for both. And in fact, their scorecards on the people online, I think, reflected that they had both actually winning the fight.
And so you think that Mike should be relatively satisfied with what happened today?
Well, if I was Mike and I was the people around Mike, I mean, I'm being realistic. I would not be satisfied. They can say all of this for the public, but I would definitely not be satisfied with the performance tonight. And I would be working very hard to try to do a lot better next time.